That's a great analogy. I'm going to steal that one.
Power tools of all kinds, yes.
Power tools, yeah. Yeah, I'm on the Active Campaign bandwagon with Ada. I tell everybody it's the biggest bang for your buck. And yeah, it just does so much. So like the problem I run into is I do these big, beautiful roadmaps for clients, and I'm like, look at all the things we could be doing to keep nurturing these relationships. And then they tell me what ESP they're using, and it's like, ooh. But I get it, right? Like you have to start somewhere, right? Sure. You have to start somewhere, and with whatever resources you have available at the time when you're starting, a tool like MailChimp or MailerLite might make sense. But when you're ready to like really amp up your email, that's not going to make a lot of sense anymore. And so like in the B2B world, especially, ActiveCampaign is awesome because they do have a built-in CRM. So there's a lot of back and forth with sales and marketing. It's a really great competitor to HubSpot and much more affordable. And then in B2C e-commerce, I love Klaviyo. They do, their predictive analytics are amazing and have like highly targeted segments. Like that's another thing. I get into some of these ESPs and I'm like, you can't segment anything. And it's, holy crap. Yeah, painful is the right word. And so, Klaviyo, and then Drip is also a really good one in e-commerce that I think I told you guys about this. I tried it out a couple of years ago. I wasn't super impressed, but recently got a client who's in it, and I'm like, oh, my mind is blown with all the things that they've invested into it. So, but it also depends too on like, what's your list size? If you have if you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of contacts, you might need to go to an enterprise level ESP because they can handle that kind of send volume. Right. And in that case, that's a much more tailored selection process.
Right.
So that's a whole other world of figuring out your needs.
A business, when they're ready to invest and they are looking for tools, as far as an ESP goes, they really do need to know that that the ESP can hook into webhooks or some sort of way that it can talk with and get information from their store.
Yes.
Because knowing that an email address is constantly browsing the website and what they're browsing is gold.
Yes.
And that information may seem, oh, well, I can get that in Google Analytics. Well, you're never going to be able to take that information and do this to it. And getting it right in your email, your email service provider, getting all of that traffic information is ultimately gold. And a lot of the ESPs are doing that these days, but it's very important to get, when you're talking to ESPs and you're trying to decide which ESP that you want to sign a contract with. One thing is that you want to do it monthly, or are they going to make you do it annually? Obviously, budget-wise, is it based upon how many emails you're sending or how many email clients you have? You need to figure out all those things, but you really do need to understand, especially if you're planning to do a journey, you really want to talk a lot about how how they interplay with each other. Your website. And the tools in the ESPs, how to get them syncing together so you can get as much data as you possibly can, because that's going to help you in your journey, and that's part of the journey,
right?
To identify, what's going on with that customer silently. Are they going to Facebook? These days, the ESPs can bolt in with Facebook, with Twitter, with Instagram. So you're able to see not only, maybe they're silent on email, but you've got their email address, they got the welcome campaign, maybe they're not opening, but they're always on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're always on our Facebook. So interesting things can happen. And there are so many channels that, and some ESPs actually bolt into. It's important to get all of that information if you're ready for the journey.